Welcome to Voice Bootcamp, a global name in Cisco and AWS training. Hello, my name is Faisal Khan, CEO and founder of Voice Bootcamp. In this video of Amazon AWS Solution Architect Associate Self-Study Kit, you're going to learn the fundamental core services of Amazon AWS. Now, first of all, we need to understand what is AWS is all about. Well, Amazon AWS is basically a cloud provider. It started as a web hosting company back in early 2003, I believe, where they started to provide web hosting services to customers. And as the virtualization technology came out and started to take over, revolutionize the entire IT industry, Amazon started to offer a data center as our infrastructure as a service via Amazon services. Now, they provide you with ability to rent servers, services, databases, operating system. They take care of your pretty much entire infrastructure management, where you as a customer will just simply use a service to deliver your services to your client. Now, there are many different services within Amazon, approximately about 224 and higher, and it's keep adding up on a regular basis. So you don't have to learn everything. So first of all, you have to keep in mind that as an Amazon AWS consultant or engineer or administrator, you only need to focus on the area that you want to specialize in. However, regardless whether you're going for solution architect or SysOps admin or cloud DevOps, you need to understand how the core and fundamental components works. And these courses will focus on those topics. Now, obviously, as you can see, there are many different services. You got EC2, you got Elastic Load Balancing, you got Route 53, S3, many different services. And we will go through pretty much most of them, as you can see right here, to make sure that you have a proper details. The way we're going to conduct these courses, we're going to break it down to smaller chunk, and each topic I will try to quickly show you a lab so that you have a proper understanding what it is doing. However, we have a dedicated Amazon lab guide for solution architect that consists anywhere between 30 to 50 different labs, and some of them are scenario-based labs, some of them are based on real world, and some of them are based on our own company's infrastructure on AWS. Now, we at Voice Bootcamp have moved our infrastructure to AWS, and by doing so, we are saving over $3,000 a year. So I will show you how we came up with that map. All right, so let's get started. Now, when you log into Amazon AWS account, now if you don't have an account, Amazon provides you 1 year free account or trial basis, so you get to use all the services. Keep in mind, not all services are free. Some of them are, some of them are not. So be careful how you use them. And if you go through these courses, I will walk you through how you can protect yourself from being overbilled. So right now, we're going to focus on the fundamental. And when you log into the management console, which is your day-to-day administration, in one form of it, you'll notice that there are tons of services. It's like a land of spaghetti, but you don't have to remember everything. Only focus on the code and the area that you want to specialize in. For example, if you're a security personnel, you want to focus on security. If you're a networking personnel, then you can focus on the networking. If you are a database person, then you can focus on the database. But you need to know the fundamental part, and this particular chapter focuses on that. So first thing we're going to look at is the region and IAM, Identity Access Management. Now, region is basically the data centers that Amazon has deployed throughout the world. Now, AWS has region all around the world. Now, it doesn't mean that every continent has it yet, but majority of the continent around the globe has one or more different region. A region is where Amazon decided to build the data center. For example, they have North Virginia, they have Canada, they have Singapore, they have India, Mumbai, many different locations. Now, each one of these regions serves that particular area, but you are allowed to open services or use services in a region that you may not even live in. For example, I live in Canada, and I could open up services in Singapore without even to fly there. Now, the beauty part about Amazon is that if you look at traditional way, and if I were to build a computer or server in Singapore, first of all, I had to fly to Singapore. Second, I would have to, which I love to do, by the way, I love that country. I'd love to fly to Singapore. I would have to open up a business, maybe registration. I may have to rent a location, a lease. I will have to make some sort of billing arrangement. All sorts of stuff has to be done just to get one or two servers up. Well, with Amazon, I could literally build a server right from here, standing where I am, facing you, without moving away from this desk. And that's the promising feature that a lot of companies are going, wow. I mean, do I really need to move to another place or physically and actually do that? Or can I just do it with Amazon? Well, this is what the Amazon does. Ability to give you the ability to build a server or solutions into a region without you even moving to that area. All right, each one of these regions that we talked about has a minimum of 2 data centers for redundancy purposes. And these data centers are actually isolated at a physical level. That means they're not physically connected. So in case something happens to one data center, like for example, earthquake, or some sort of terrorist attack, something happened to that building, while the other building will continue to provide the service. I am sure, and like I said, though I don't have the details, I'm sure Amazon did not build the second data center usually in the same proximity. So there has to be some sort of distance between those 2 data centers that they might have kept in mind. However, some location will have 2, some location will have 3, some location may have 6. Like North Virginia has 6 availability zone. So but the minimum is 2. So therefore, you always have a primary and a secondary option. Now, if you get to choose whether you get to deploy services in 1 zone or 2 availability zone, or often short form called AZ. Now, if you choose to, for some services, if you choose to use only 1 zone, therefore it's going to be 1 price. And if you add a second zone or redundancy zone, then it might end up costing a little bit more. So keep that in mind as well. Now, when you log into Amazon, you are automatically tied to a specific zone. When you log into the console, you are automatically tied to a specific zone. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So right now, this is my account. I logged in, and as you can see that I am currently on region called Virginia, US East. North Virginia is the region, and it is right now in that region I have 6 availability zones. So they will be labeled as US-East-1A, 1B, C, D, and something like that. Now, these region names do not change, keep in mind, because there are a lot of programming access available that are associated with those names. So if you see those names, US-East-1A, pay attention to that, because when you're doing like a lot of scripting or programming or whatnot, those are the names that you would need from time to time. All right, so like I said, when you are in a region, right now I am in North Virginia, and let's say I would like to build a server in Singapore. All I have to do, instead of flying there, which I still like it, I would prefer that, but I would simply go to Asia Pacific, Singapore, and now I am in Singapore region. So whatever majority of the services that I configure in Singapore will not be visible in North Virginia. And whatever I have configured in North Virginia, most of the services will not be visible in Singapore. But there are few services that are global. And those services are, for example, IAM S3, Route 53. These are global services. They are applicable pretty much everywhere. So keep that in mind as well. All right. Next topic is, how do you secure this cloud? Remember one thing, the cloud is basically a network that does not belong to you. And when things does not belong to you, you gotta be a little bit careful when it comes to security perspective, right? I mean, it is handled by a bunch of engineers in AWS, and somehow we're supposed to trust them. So keep that in mind, that when you do not have physical access to your device, you are losing one domain of your security. That is the physical security of your infrastructure. So you need to rely on as much as possible on the logical side of it, where this is where the IAM security comes into place. So what is an IAM? It's an identity and access management. It allows you to decide who gets to access what resource and what privileges they have. So your whole AWS security is there under the following three categories. You got users, which are individual, physical, like you and me, who will have our own account to log in. And then we will have groups, which will decide how many users in that particular group. So that could be definition of, let's say, functions, could be department, could be role type, however you want to define it. And then you have a roles, meaning what resources can we access? What are my policies towards certain services? These are all can be managed by associating an IAM user to an account. So we will create users, we will assign the users to a group, we will then define roles to that users group. Now, when you open your AWS account, you will always have a root account. That is your master account. That is the account the billing is associated with. And you want to make sure that you never give that account to people that should not have. Only the trusted people in your organization that should have that access to the account. And you should not be using that account on a daily basis either. You should, as soon as you create an AWS account, the first thing that you should do is create an IAM account with the full privilege that you need for yourself, and then go on to creating an account for other people. Now, IAM is the center of your AWS, so make sure that you understand IAM very well, because it is not just about who gets to access, who gets to log in. It is also for servers accessing resources. For example, you build a web server that may need to access, I don't know, maybe database, or maybe may need to access S3 storage. Well, you need to make sure that you have the proper IAM privileges. Now, you can control using a lot of things, using the graphical user interface, but you can also create your own policy using JSON script, where you can be more granular, more control, and gives you more advanced capability to protect your data or your access privileges. Now, IAM, you're going to organize them by creating group first, users. You're going to create a group and then roles, and I'm going to show you an example how that is done. But keep in mind, for IAM, it's a global view. That means it's not specific to region. Permission is governed by the policies. There are predefined policies that already exist. You get to choose them. Some of them are read policies, some of them are write policies, some of them are just pull, some of them are very specific, or you can create your own by using JSON policies. Now, IAM, we will look into that as we go through this. I mean, not just AWS Solution Architect, but DevOps, SysOps, and all the other courses. It is best to give the user with a limited privilege to start with, and then slowly add them to more higher privileges based on their job functions. But what about companies that are so big that they would like to use their existing infrastructure or user account system to log into AWS? For example, let's say Microsoft, and they say, you know what, we would like to use our Active Directory users to their current account so that they don't have to maintain too many accounts. Well, in this scenario, IAM Federation can be very useful. With IAM Federation, you could have integrate to an Active Directory using SAML languages. And we'll talk about that as we go into that module. So over a period of time, in general, you have to keep in mind that one IAM user is for each physical individual. IAM user will usually have a role per application. You have a credential that should never be shared. You never share your IAM user with anybody else. Never write down your IAM credentials in your access code, like your scripting, because what if somebody is reading the script? And also make sure that you keep your account safe. Don't use a root access, and never use a root IAM credential. Now, this is basically the basic overview. There's more details of IAM we'll go into the security module. At Voice Bootcamp, we also teach AWS Advanced Security specialization, and in that we go into more deeper into the policies and creation, stuff like that. So take a look at it if you have a chance. So I'm going to show you how to build an IAM account and how we use a different user account to log in. So right now you will see that I'm in a management and I'm going to click on IAM. And as soon as, now take a look at this, take a look at the region, which is Singapore. And as soon as I click on IAM, okay, I'm right now at IAM, and look at that region is now global. That means I'm not tied to any particular region. It is over available for every region that is AWS has. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a group first. So I'm going to create a group called read only. Let me actually create a new one. Let's call this, I don't know, temp admin. Okay, this is going to be temporary read only admin. Okay, I'll create a group. I hired a bunch of consultants whose job is to go through my config logs and whatever. Only thing they can do is read. That's it. So I will go ahead and create, and I'm going to give them read access. Okay, so as you can see, the one of the item right here called EC2 read only, and I believe there is a global read on as well. So let's just search for read. Oops. Okay, so there are a lot of read access. You can see whichever you want. What I'm going to do right now, instead of waiting for all of them, I'm going to just select this one, EC2 read only. So I can only do EC, whatever functionality or configuration I try to do on the EC2, it should only give me read access. All right, click next and create the policy. I have a temporary read only admin. I'm going to create a user and I'm going to assign the user to that. Now, see this, if I go back here, where am I? Permission, this is the role, okay? And as you can see the role, you'll see all these roles that are created automatically for you. Read, I can create my own role based on EC2 and customize it if I want to. So right now I don't want to go do details, so let's go and create a user account. I'm going to call this, I don't know, AWS, let's just call it architect, okay? So I'm going to create a user account called architect. I would like to give that user privilege to console or programmatic access. Right now I'm going to stick to console. I want to create my own password, okay? And then I will ask them to change the password once they log in for the first time. Next permit, I'm done. I'm going to assign this user this access to this temp admin, temporary read only access, and I'm going to click next. Now, tags are very important if you want to manage your platform environment very well, and I like to use tag so that I can search things based on tag. And one of the things that I would like to use tag for IAM user is like what type of users are they? Are they consultant? Are they temporary? Are they employee? Are they part-time? You know, things like that. So I can say type, and I can say temporary, something like that. Okay, and review. Okay, all looks good. Click on create, and what it's going to do is going to give me a download CSV file with the username and the login URL that I'm going to ask the user to use to log in. So I'm going to download this, and I'm going to open that. And what you're going to see is basically an architect with an URL. Now the password for security reason is not included because obviously for security reason. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to, I'm going to open Firefox. And I'm going to paste that URL right there. And what this URL does, it points to my company's main account, as you can see right there, account ID, right? This is the ID for my account. So if you want to know, you can go to VPC network, my account. And as you can see, this is the account number that shows up right there. All right, so now I'm going to put the username architect and the password that I selected. And the moment I try to log in, it's going to tell me to change the password, which is fair enough, as I requested it. I will change the password, and I'm going to, I don't know, use my password. So right now I am logged in as an architect. As you can see right there at the top, logged in as architect, followed by the account ID. This is my corporate account. And the next thing is, let's see what I can do. So what I want to do, because I have, remember, give the permission for EC2, I'm going to go to EC2. I'm going to try to launch a new server. Okay, I'm going to try to launch a server. I'm going to select this operating system, click next, next, launch, and let's try to create a key, okay? Let's see what happens. I'm going to call this key AWS key. As soon as I try to click on download, look what happened. Error creating the key because I don't have the privileges. Okay, I do not have the privilege as authorized to perform this act. So therefore, my account is restricted due to only read-only access. So this is what IAM user will have. Basically, you'll control who get to access what resources. Create the user account, create the group, assign the resources to group, and then log in using that account. All right, so that is basically for this particular video. We'll talk about two things, region and IAM user, very important. Keep in mind that region is something you get to select. A certain region may be disabled, certain region may not be enabled, so you have to keep that in mind. And you get to choose any region you want. Some region, like for example, government region, are restricted unless you can authenticate yourself as a proper authority. So there are a few restrictions that are available. Other than that, that's basic introductions. I will see you in the next video.